Mechanisms with money. In the previous section, we modeled a voter's preference as an order on the alternatives. A is greater than B in I's preference implies that I prefers A to B, but we did not model by how much is A preferred to B. Money is the yardstick that allows measuring this. Moreover, money can be transferred between players. The existence of money with these properties is an assumption, but a fairly reasonable one in many circumstances, and will allow us to do things that we could not do otherwise. Formally, in this section, we redefined our setting. We will still have a set of alternatives, A, and a set of n players I, which we will no longer call voters. The preference of a player I is now given by a valuation function, Vi, which maps from A to R, where Vi of A denotes the value that I assigns to alternative A being chosen. This value is in terms of some currency, i.e., we assume that if A is chosen and then player I is additionally given some quantity M of money, then I's utility is Ui equals to Vi of A plus M, this utility being the abstraction of what the player desires and aims to maximize. Utilities of this form are called quasi-linear preferences, denoting the separable and the linear dependence on money. Vickery's second price auction. Before we proceed to the general setting in this subsection, we study a basic example of simple auction. Consider a single item that is auctioned for sale among n players. Each player I has a scalar value of Wi that he is willing to pay for this item. More specifically, if he wins the item but has to pay some price P for it, then his utility is Wi minus P, while if someone else wins the item, then I's utility is 0. Putting this scenario into the terms of our general setting, the set of alternatives here is the set of possible winners. A equals to the set I winners such that little I is in capital I, and the valuation of each bidder I is Vi of I wins equals to Wi, and Vi of J wins equals to 0 for all J not equals to I. A natural social choice would be to allocate the item to the player who values it highest. Choose I wins, where I equals to the argument maxima chosen between all Wj with index j. However, the challenge is that we do not know the value Wi, but rather each player knows his own value, and we want to make sure that our mechanism decides on the allocation. The social choice in a way that cannot be strategically manipulated. Our degree of freedom is the definition of the payment by the winner. Let us first consider the two most natural choices of payment and see why they do not work as intended. No payment. In this version, we give the item for free to the player with highest Wi. Clearly, this method is easily manipulated. Every player will benefit by exaggerating his Wi, reporting a much larger Wi prime, which is much larger than Wi, that can cause him to win the item, even though his real Wi is not the highest. Pay your bid. An attempt of correction will be to have the winner pay the declared bid. However, this system is also open to manipulation. A player with value Wi who wins and pays Wi gets a total utility of 0. Thus, it is clear that he should attempt declaring a somewhat lower value Wi prime less than Wi, then still wins. In this case, he can still win the item getting a value of Wi, his real value, but paying only the smaller Wi prime, his declared value. Obtaining a net positive utility, Ui equals to Wi minus Wi prime, which is greater than 0. What value WI prime should I bid then? Well, if I know the value of the second highest bid, then he should declare just above it. But what if he does not know? Here is the solution. Definition 9.12. Vickery's second price auction. Let the winner be the player I with the highest declared value of WI, and let I pay the second highest declared bid. P star equals to the maxima of Wj, where the maxima is taken for all those j not equals to I. Now it turns out that manipulation never can increase any player's utility. Formally, proposition 9.13, Vickery. For every W1, W2, W3 until Wn, and every Wi prime, let Ui be I's utility if he beats Wi and Ui prime his utility if he beats Wi prime. Then Ui is greater than or equals to Ui prime. Proof. Assume that by saying Wi he wins, and that the second highest reported value is P star, then Ui equals to Wi minus P star, which is greater than or equals to 0. Now for an attempted manipulation, Wi prime, which is greater than P star, I would still win if he beats Wi prime and would still pay P star. Thus, Ui prime equals to Ui. On the other hand, if Wi prime is less than or equals to P star, I would lose, so Ui prime equals to 0, which is less than or equals to Ui. If I loses by beating Wi, then Ui equals to 0, let J be the winner in this case, and thus Wj is greater than or equals to Wi. For Wi prime, which is less than Wj, I would still lose, and so Ui prime equals to 0 equals to Ui. For Wi prime, which is greater than or equals to Wj, I would win, but would pay Wj. Thus, his utility would be Ui prime equals to Wi minus Wj, which is less than or equals to 0 equals to Ui. This very simple and elegant idea achieves something that is quite remarkable. It reliably computes a function argument max of n numbers, the Wi's that are each held secretly by a different self-interested player. Taking a philosophical point of view, this may be seen as the mechanics for the implementation of Adam Smith's invisible hand. Despite private information and pure selfish behavior, social welfare is achieved. All the field of mechanism design is just a generalization of this possibility.